Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to In the Zone. Rich Sutter, Pete Coles, dynamic duo of the hoop world, here to bring you the best, the latest, and the greatest of the hoop world. NBA, NCAA. NBA is mired in their cup business right now. Pete asked me a question about that last week. We're going to try and get you a little bit more information about that this week. But, Pete, I threw on my maroon sweater today because UMass beat Boston College last night, and that was a big win.
Wow, yeah, that
big
is a big win.
And it was in Springfield, which was excellent. I think they had a pretty good crowd for the game. Everything looked good. Came down to the end. Actually, the first time I ever got a coaching job, I walked into a locker room, and in the locker room there was a big sign, and the sign said, "Layups and free throws are the difference between winning and losing."
That's the truth, man.
And that is something that's stayed with me for the 40-plus years that I've been in this business. Last night, Boston College, 20 seconds left in the game approximately, gets one of their guys, goes to the line, he's fouled. The game is tied. He misses both.
Ooh.
UMass gets the ball, brings it over half court. Good timeout by Coach Frank Martin, I thought. Came out with a really, really good play set off the sideline. Marcus Banks around the corner, goes up for a shot and gets fouled. He makes both. BC comes down with 5 seconds left and couldn't get off a really good shot. But a really, really good signature win for Coach Frank Martin and that UMass team. And I was excited to see them get in to the Springfield area, really pump that community because Springfield has such a vibrant basketball community. So I was excited for that as well. But good win. Good win for the Minutemen. All right, Pete, let's jump off into Pete's Corner.
All right. Here's the first question. What is on the Christmas list for a college or pro coach? And maybe they're different things.
Nope. It's all the same. We're all asking Santa for wins. Santa, just keep me out of. All right. Let's get into this a little bit. All right.
You like that question?
It's a great question. It's a great question, and I love it when I can give a simple answer, but then expound because there is a little bit. All your questions are deep. Your questions have layers to them, and so to unpack this layer of what a coach is looking for, you got to get into the darkness and the ennui and the just absolute obliteration of everything in your life that comes with losing. And then you live in those temporary snapshot moments of happiness where you do win. And really, that's all you hope for is to just keep moderately happy and to stay out of that darkness that really, really drives it. Even one game drives me insane. I don't know that I've ever slept a full night after a loss. Something wakes me up. Something in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning, I pop up and I'm pacing the halls and I'm going back and forth. I'm replaying the game in my head. What could we have done here better? What could I have done better as a coach? How could I have helped my team get to victory better? Those are the things that wake you up at night, And so I think I've learned a little bit lately to sleep a little bit better. But I don't know if the espresso and Sambuca is helping that, Pete. But right now, what a coach wants to do, it's binary almost.
Because we're getting close to midway, right?
It's the last day of class today, really, in most colleges. You're at the midway point. Now, D1s are going to keep pushing all the way through. They'll probably play at Christmas, I assume, this year. The NBA has a pretty good Christmas slate. And so I think, you're looking to stay healthy.
Yep.
And you're looking to stay on the winning side. And you're looking now, because what you're going to do is they're going to reformulate in the cupcake world right now. They've had some good matchups. NCAA, I can't knock it. They've had some really, really good head-to-head matchups of those power teams that we want to see. Normally, they would run from each other and hide until they had to go up against them eventually against a team like that in their league. But by and large, before that occurred, they were absolutely avoiding each other like crazy so that they wouldn't pick up those losses early on. They wanted to be 12-0 heading into their league season. Then if you go 500 in league, you got 20 wins, and you can tell the NCAA tournament committee, hey, we belong in. None of that works anymore, really, right now.
Yeah.
It's been insane. And you picked that up in the football world this week with Notre Dame. Not getting in, not getting invited. That was a travesty.
Yep.
All right, good one, though, Pete. Let's roll.
All right, so we're this is the time of year where NBA has to compete head to head, even though it's only like Thursday, Sunday and Monday. Is this cup gimmick helping the ratings for the NBA when competing head to head against the NFL?
I think the NBA has real problems, until football stops. And it's one of the problems that football has pushed later and later and later into. I never understood why they take a month off in between bowl games. Like the early bowl games will start, but the culmination of the football season will be, it used to be 1 month, now it's like 6 weeks from your last game. They have to sit around, practice, prepare, get ready. And it's just so abnormal to their normal existence right now, which is we gear it up on Saturday. Let's go. Once a week, we're ready to go. That's how we prepare. Usually you're probably off Sunday, maybe Monday. You get in there on Tuesday and some pads, and Wednesday and some pads, and then Thursday, Friday, you're, just going over game plan and doing walkthroughs and getting everybody to make sure they're healthy, especially in football. So I think, it's different. It's different now. And I think what's happening is there's a lot more, you don't see it, but there's a lot more loaded up on these teams in the front. With their victories, they get a couple of those wins and stuff like that, but then sustaining it throughout the year is a whole nother thing. And
they're hoping other people won't notice while they're in the second fiddle role.
And in the NBA, to be honest with you, I think this cup thing is an absolute, I think I said it last week, I think it's an absolute disaster. Nobody really cares that they do this. We were fine with the season the way it was. Now, we'd like to see the basketball end of it improve. I certainly would, but that doesn't mean you throw something gimmicky like this. If you're trying to fix something, generally people stop digging when they're trying to fix something. Stop digging a hole. The NBA just keeps digging and digging and digging these holes.
Yeah.
And the cup is no different. It's just another hole. And so you're talking about what are they doing here 20 games into the season, having this crazy cup. I dare most people out there to tell me who's still in this thing. I'm going to go over it a little bit later, but we got the Thunder. We got some other, the Knicks are in there, but it's, they're in a semifinal now, and nobody, and I mean nobody that I know of talks about this stuff. And so what I think they let happen also is you kind of let off the pedal, people will turn to college.
Yeah.
People are going to look at the college game because they had some great games on there. That Super Tuesday they had with, 6 of the top 15 teams going at it against each other. The NBA better be careful. NBA better be careful because they got problems as it is.
Well, and
right now, did you just give up the last 2 weeks to college basketball?
The other thing, too, is now that they've gone all these nights on Prime, more people don't have access to them. I see the networks are trying to roll out some NBA, but it's also a lot of games are on Prime now.
You got all this stuff now, and it's going to go to pay-per-view soon. In order to pay for it, it'll have to.
Yeah.
The numbers are getting so unbelievably big, it either goes to pay-per-view or you see the TV people start to get out of it a little bit because there'll come to a time when you get to where your return on investment isn't there. And they're a business nonetheless. But something tells me that you have significant support for the media within our government. How are some of them still
They'll never
open?
Completely go away. Yeah.
How are some of them still open?
Yeah.
On a regular business model, profit, revenue, sell your advertising. How are any of them still open?
Yeah.
Without something I think that might be, hey, we're getting, we're subsidizing just about everybody right now, if you ask me. So I think it's terrible. I don't like it at all. I don't know what other people really think about it because nobody's talking about it.
Right.
Nobody at your lunch table is, hey, how about that cup, man? This is really blowing. Nobody,
No.
and I mean nobody's talking about it.
Yep.
It's what happens when they took
That's why
all the
I asked
basketball.
about it. I was like, this makes no sense to me why they're doing this gimmick.
But they took all the basketball people out of the room.
Okay.
They took all the basketball people out of the room on every single one of these conversations. Because most of the guys that I know that have been in this business a long time, if you put a panel of all of us together, coaches that have been there 30, 40 plus years, and you said, hey, man, we got this cup idea, and we think it's going to be really exciting. All the basketball people in that room would have shouted them down and said, you're insane. 20 games in. Now, let's just say you go into a better frame of at the All-Star break, the midway point.
Okay, and that makes more sense.
Now we have
then,
a
right?
cup.
Yeah.
Now we got a little cup going on, a little something in the holidays to keep I would even think like that might be more viable. But you're talking about 20 games in right now, and everybody's just getting used to the season, getting acclimated to it. And now all of a sudden you throw in these games that aren't meaningless, but they're certainly not, like seemingly in the flow of the regular season.
Yeah.
And so I was just getting into the season. I was enjoying it, having fun. Then you threw this cup at me. And I got to be honest, I lost complete interest.
Yeah.
I'll pick it back up. I'm looking at it now. The Knicks are in, Thunder's in, Lakers or somebody played last night. It's not good. It's not good. But the question was, let's roll to 3, Pete.
All right, so I've been watching the trends and listening to what you've been having to say over the past couple of months, and are the days numbered for the lifespan of the NCAA?
Wow. As an organization.
Like, is there a clock? Are the Power 5 conferences have a clock on the NCAA?
That could be one of your best questions of all time. Because I think what they did was they headlocked them.
Yeah.
They just gave them, like the noogies. They have them in the headlock and they're giving, they're rubbing their head.
Yeah, sure,
I don't think that they feel like they have to dissolve them completely because they've been so easy to go around. Power 4 football kicked them out a while ago.
Yeah.
Basketball now has essentially, with the lawyers and the courts taking over college basketball, they've essentially taken this, and I'll tell you where all those lawyers came from. Came from the gambling entities who have been pushing this thing in. Because right now, college basketball in the NCAA, with all the revenue they have, isn't viable if you don't have a line on the game. Take the lines off the games. See what happens. See what happens to your viewership.
Yeah, right. There'd be no TV viewership.
Take the lines off the games and see what happens.
Yep.
So now you got all of this big little stew being made here with all of this. It's in a cauldron, and it's really, really toxic, to be honest with you. But in the whole spectrum of the thing, I think that they would have, if they wanted to, gotten rid of the NCAA altogether right now. They would have just said, get them out. We don't need them. There's no need for them. But I guess they found that they didn't have to kill them altogether. Because the NCAA rolled over and played like a dog, Pete.
Well, yes. Does it give them cover now to do whatever they want? Because we're still with the NCAA,
right? But the Power Fours told them, look. Well, first off, they said when the NCAA came in, I'll give you a little snapshot of how this whole arm wrestling match went. Okay, they got these guys on wiretaps, FBI wiretaps, coaches, agents, sneaker people, everybody paying for kids, paying flat out. What the result was the Condoleezza Rice and the commission that came out was NIL came out right after that. I mean, think of the gall on them to then poach that thing right after you had just been busted.
right?
So if you want to know,
We're not going to jail. We'll reward you for it.
right. And there's this guy, Ed Orgeron, who used to coach LSU's football team. And he's a character, man. He's an absolute character. And I love listening to him. And they go, Coach, are you going to be able to adjust for the NIL? And you know what his line was? He goes, we used to take it in the back door. Now we take it in the front door.
Oh, my God.
No big adjustment. That's exactly what he said. We used to take it in the back door, and they absolutely did. Under the table, in the back door, under the covers, every single which way you could think of. And then they legalized it.
Oh, my Lord.
Then they said, we don't want you busting us anymore for your little picayune stuff that you come at us with. Because I'll be honest with you, go back. Greg Van Horn, great player at Utah, college basketball, had a basketball coach named Rick Majerus, the big guy. And Rick Majerus had to take his player to the airport because one of his family members had passed away. He needed to go home. Flight was delayed. So he's sitting in the airport with the kid. They go in and have a slice of pizza. Now, could you in any universe say to that kid who just lost his mom, his dad, his uncle, grandfather, whoever it might have been, hey, man, I need you to put up $2.25 for your slice of pizza?
No.
In no universe is any good human being going to do that. Majerus pays for the pizza. Kid gets on the flight. Who comes in next? NCAA sheriffs. And they don't say, under this circumstance, we could see, it was $10. No. They came in and stepped on the kid's head right after he had lost a family member and stepped on one of the best coaches in the business who probably never stepped on the other side of the NCAA in his life. So that's what they were. And so that's why people pushed back on them as well, because they were a nickel bag operation that were going after people for stuff that didn't matter. They were keeping people from earning money that they could earn as Livy Dunn could earn as a model, as she could earn as a social media sensation. They precluded people for years and years and years from earning that money.
That's just crazy.
And so that's why they're in jail right now. Because they did. But I got to give it to you straight, folks. We always try to. This is why they were fighting that. Because once that door of amateurism was kicked open, it's over. It's lights out. You're playing a different game. And it happened like a light switch, on and off. One day it was off. The next night they turned the lights on. These are lawyers, judges, courts, people that don't have no idea about basketball. But they took over the whole thing. Because you know what's coming next, Pete? Private equity.
Yep.
Private equity's coming next. Michigan and other schools have already put their foot in the water. When that happens, say bye-bye. That'll be it. You'll be in hyperspace. You'll get dragged into hyperspace. You will no longer be a college basketball operation. No. I got news for you. You're not right now. Pete, 3 great ones. 3 unbelievable questions. Let's blow into our baselines. NBA baselines. LeBron James, sticking around. He had a streak of double-digit games that was broken. When you hear the streak, it's pretty impressive, though. It was 1,297 games. It started January 5th, 2007. The other day, came under 10 points. It was the first time in, 15 years. Long time. Derek Queen, in the zone, was our number 3 overall. He went for a triple-double the other night, Pete. I love it. I love it when we're right. 33, 10, and 10 with 4 blocks. I love this young man's game. I don't know what they were thinking about when they let him go all the way down to where he got picked with the Pelicans. And I don't know what the Pelicans were thinking about when they gave up all they got to give up when they were chasing this young man. I didn't understand it at all, but a great game. He is the first rookie center to record a triple-double. And I got all these crazy net fans over there on Twitter and all these other places. I got to tell you, folks, you blew it. Okay? The Nets organization blew it. You blew it with Derek Queen. You blew it with Coward. And stop telling me about Agor Domin and how great he is, because you probably could have had him at 19. Don't tell me Presti wanted him at 15, because I'm not buying that either. All right? So stay off my Twitter with that stuff. All right. They lost to the Spurs in that game, 135-132. They got the return of Dylan Harper, which was big for the Spurs. Had a good game, 22.6 assists. Again, Max Renaud. All right, we had him. Stanford averaged 20 and 10 at Stanford. Great young man, 7 foot, shoots the 3 ball. We thought this is a European-style player. We picked Max Renaud he moved into the starting lineup for the Kings, had a monster game. We picked him number 8 overall. He was a second-round pick by the Kings at 42. It just drives me crazy. We had him at 7. Okay, here's the game he has, Pete. 25.6 rebounds and 3 assists the other night when they move him into the starting lineup. Max Renaud. Folks, turn off all your stuff. When we do our draft, just turn it on, baby. Arizona, NCAA, they grabbed the number 1 spot in the AP poll. You know what, Pete? They're 3 weeks behind in the zone. We've had Arizona 3 straight weeks at number 1. Have no idea what Ken Palm's talking about. No idea what Torvik is talking about with their weapons of math destruction. But right now, we've had Arizona all the way around, and AP finally came around. Not sure what brought him around, Pete, but we got him. All right. In the zone, baby. In the zone. We're the best. All right. Mark Few, unbelievable. Gonzaga, the second fastest basketball coach to 750 wins. Unbelievable. Wait till you hear this. He has 750 wins in 904 games.
Wow.
Adolph Rupp got 750 in 902. He missed by 2.
Oof.
Unbelievable. He has never, ever missed the NCAA tournament as a coach. Maybe one of the greats of all time. Darren Peterson scores 17 points in his return for Kansas. 80-60 win over a good Missouri team, but he hadn't played in a really long time. Good to see him back. Glad the hamstrings healed up. He could really make a difference for Kansas down the stretch here. Right now, they're probably mired, maybe in a bottom 20. I don't even know if we have them in ours. We'll look in a few minutes. Purdue got hit by a cyclone, Pete. Out there in Indiana, they got hit by a cyclone. Iowa State Cyclones, that was. 81-58 victory over Purdue. What's happening in some of these big games with this MOV? You got MOV, baby, margin of victory, or MOD, which is margin of defeat. Some of these teams that were 3rd in the country, 2nd in the country, getting absolutely knocked out of the park, and Purdue got knocked out by Iowa State. And you can correct me on this one, I think, but I believe that game was in Purdue. 23-point defeat, largest non-conference defeat for a number 1. We didn't have them at number 1, but they did. That was their largest defeat. Let's stay on the baseline, Pete. Rozier has pleaded not guilty to the gambling. Everybody else is pleading guilty, but he's not. Okay. The pace for 65 games, this is something NBA fans, you want to keep an eye on. Because right now, there's a whole litany of other guys that are just about to hand the MVP to SGA because they don't make games. Luka, Giannis, Wemby, Anthony Davis. I don't even know why they put Anthony Davis on this list. I mean, he's never in. Sabonis, LeBron, Paolo Banchero, De'Aaron Fox, Joel Embiid, and Zion Williamson are almost all out of consideration right now because they're not making the 65-game minimum. Unbelievable. Right now, we're going to give it to you, Pete. Our Rookie of the Year, right now, the lead, Derek Queen. Number 2, Con Knuppel. Number 3, VJ Edgecombe. Cedric Coward right there. We're going to go Cooper Flagg. MVP, we've got SGA, Luka, and Joker right now. I think Giannis has been hurt for a while. We had him in there in the group. But, Pete, right now, all of our NBA fans, right now, keep your eye on Milwaukee. Keep your eye on Giannis Antetokounmpo because he is most likely going to request to be traded at this upcoming trading deadline. Wow. I would say. He said he would go back, said he would give Milwaukee another shot. They're awful. He has no shot at being on a contender if he stays in Milwaukee for the next 10 years. 5, 10. But that's way beyond what he wants to see. So right now, I'm assuming he has some significant no trade clauses in there where he would have some ability to decide where he goes. He's not going to let them trade him to the Pelicans. Not going to let him trade him to the Wizards, you know. But then that's when you got to get into this thing as a commissioner and make sure this is all above board. Who's going to put up the most? Who's going to want to go get him? And if you're Milwaukee right now, you might not have to wait if you trade him. I'm going to tell you right now, every obstacle creates opportunity. Trade him. He doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want to play on your team anymore. Trade him. You just make sure you get more than value. He's a star. Somebody's going to want him really, really bad. They're going to think he's the answer to their dreams, to their championship hopes. You just make sure that you get a lot for him. You just make sure you get a lot for him. All right? The abbreviated schedule in the Cup, Pete, we said we'd talk about it. Let's roll. Knicks beat the Raptors 117-101 to make the semis. The Magic and the Heat are 117-108. The Magic beat the Heat, so it's a Magic and the Knicks on the east side. West side, we got the Suns versus the Thunder. Last night, the Thunder wound up winning that game, and the Lakers over the Spurs. Pete, I'm going to ask you to do a tiny bit of research for me at some point during the game to find out who won that Lakers-Spurs game last night, and that will create the finals, semifinals that they're looking for. And if we can, let's jump off. But before we do, we have our Dog Bone Award, Pete. We've got the dog bone that's going to go to Shamrock right after the show. He loves it. But right now in the NBA, Zach Edey, right now, we're giving the dog bone. They put him in starting lineup. He is dominating right now college in pro basketball. We're going with our pro NBA. Dog bone is going out to Zach Edey. All right. NCAA dog bone, I'm going Jaden Bradley of Arizona.
Lakers lost to the Spurs.
Lakers lost, so now you got the Spurs and Thunder, and then you have the Knicks on the other side taking on the Magic. All right, let's go to the Super 30, Pete. OKC bangs it out, man. These guys, I don't know. Are they gonna win every game? You know, are they gonna take every single game from here on out? The only loss they have is a 2-point loss to the Portland Trailblazers. You scratch your head on that one. But they're 2 points from being 25-0. Unbelievable.
Crazy.
Oh, hats off, man. That's a great organization. 24-1. We love it. Pete, the Detroit Pistons, though, they are the top of the Eastern Conference. A little bit of a surprise. There. But 19-5, what a great record. And they came off. This is a message to the Wizards, to the Pelicans, to the Pacers, the Jazz. Anybody who's on the bottom of this 30 right now, look at what Detroit did. Follow their pattern and see if you can get better incrementally and start to move quickly, because they were on the deck 2 years ago. They were absolutely out of it. Los Angeles Lakers, with that loss last night, will move them to 17-7. We probably would have bumped them down if we had the opportunity to. Denver Nuggets are there 17-6 as well. This is Joker's team right now, and they're really, really doing a good job of staying buoyant. They're right there, right behind OKC. You know, but the West is loaded up top here because they got Houston Rockets right there too, Pete. Number 5, Houston Rockets, 15-6. One thing I want to say to people that I've noticed, I don't know if other people have noticed it. We had a thing the last 2 years ago where we were talking about the Thompson twins, and we were talking about the 80s song and the great music that the Thompson twins had. But the two Thompson twins right now, if you look at Osar and Amen Thompson, one on the Pistons, the other on the Rockets, they're a big reason that these teams are doing well. They are generational athletes, tremendous hard workers, and they are really, really starring as a role on these teams and doing great, great things. I wanted just to stop and mention them there because you got the Pistons at 2 and the Rockets at 5, and part of the reason for that is the Thompson twins. All right, Pete, the Knicks have been on the run. They are buoyed by a 13-1 home record. They're doing really, really well in the Garden. Got to do a little bit better away from the Garden. San Antonio Spurs, Pete, 16-7. We move them to 17-7 after that big victory over the Lakers last night. That's a good win for them. Lakers have been playing well. J.J. Redick's growing on me a little bit. I hate to say it. He's growing on me, though. All right, so we got the Celtics, Pete, climbing. Yeah. Jaylen Brown is absolutely on fire right now, playing some of the best basketball of his life. This is what I predicted would happen, is that the team has to form around him. They've got to go to him as their battering ram, and then all of that other ancillary stuff can get better and take care of it. But they need that one dog. And Jaylen Brown's been that dog lately, Pete, 15-9. I think you're going to see the Celtics in our hot segment, too. All right, Minnesota Timberwolves, 15-9. They're climbing. This team, I keep waiting for them, but 15-9 is good. Better than where they were at this time last year, and they have one of the best players. Good 1-2 punch also offensively with Edwards and Randall, but Anthony Edwards to me is one of the rising stars in this game. I really, really like his game. All right, so now we got Orlando Magic 15-10. Unbelievable, Pete. They're climbing. They're in the cup. They're in the cup semifinals. Maybe they can build off of that. But again, I'm kind of a little disappointed in this team. I thought they'd be a little higher than that. Phoenix Suns 14-10. It's Booker's team right now. It's Book's team, and they better hope that he gets back soon because they lost the other night. They got absolutely knocked out the other night without him, and it didn't look good because they just don't seem to have anybody else there that's that alpha dog right now that could take his place. So important on a team. Toronto Raptors, they're really a great story this year. 15-11. I love their lineup. I'm a huge Scotty Barnes fan. I think he's been toiling up in Toronto and doesn't get the same notoriety that other players get. But if we put together a top 15 list, I think I'd have Barnes in it. He's really good. Philadelphia 76ers 13-10. They limp along. Embiid once in a while he's there. Paul George once in a while he comes around. But Maxey and Edgecombe have been the guard play that has been really, really sustaining this team and really putting this team on the map. That's where they're climbing. They're much better than they were last year. All right, Atlanta Hawks 14-11. Trae Young back. They kind of played better basketball without him. Keep an eye on that in the trade deadline. Keep an eye on that. They could get a lot for him. I'd keep an eye on that. All right, Cleveland Cavaliers might be the biggest disappointment of the year so far. 14-11. Coach Atkinson's got some injuries to deal with, but they're just not producing at the same offensive level that they did in years past. All right, we keep on rolling, Pete. The Miami Heat. They would have been out of our top 15, but since we're doing the Power 30, we bring the Heat. 14-11, pretty good. They don't have a great lineup. They've had in and out. They got to go more with Kel'el Ware. They got to start to make him a focal point. Golden State Warriors, 13-12. Keep an eye on Jimmy Butler. I'm giving some names out here because I think the trade deadline is approaching. Keep an eye on that one. I don't know that that's been a good fit, a good mix. The Heat, when the Heat run somebody out, you might want to take notice of the rest of the league because if the Heat don't want him, maybe anybody else don't either. Talented, mercurial player. But keep an eye on him at the trade deadline because you also can get something for him. Here's another one. Memphis Grizzlies, trade John Morant. Let that young core of group players take over. You've got Zach Edey dominating inside. Cedric Coward, I'll give you this. The Grizzlies are right up there right now in my mind with their drafting in the NBA draft. Cedric Coward, great pickup. Edey the other year, great pickup. Trade Morant. Get him out. That's what I would do. Milwaukee Bucks, trade Giannis. 10-15 isn't what he wanted. It's not what you guys want, but you can get a bundle for him. You can get a big bundle for him. And if I was them, I wouldn't be taking no draft picks in that bundle. You get players that can help right now, that can help you turn this team around because there ain't a lot of guys in that draft that are going to help you with a pick that somebody's going to be wanting to give up. Nobody's really going to want to give up a lottery pick right now, a top 10 pick right now. They're not going to want to do it because you can get burned that way. But if I was them, I'd go hard after getting some really, really good players that can come in and give you a little bit more of a money ball operation. Yeah, you're losing a star, but you could pick up 3 really good players for him. All right. We go to the Bulls, Pete. They're falling like a rock. Billy D hanging on in Chicago. I hope he survives, but this is not good. They started off great, but I think they're going to show up in the not hot segment of this week. Portland Trailblazers 9-15. That's actually good. I'm actually excited for them. 9-15 is way above where I thought they would be. I don't think it's a great franchise right now. I don't think they got a lot going on for them, but they're holding on and they're playing better. Utah Jazz 9-16. Let's hold on. Mavericks 9-16. We got the Jazz right below them, but we'll go to the Mavericks first. Cooper Flagg out there. He's looking around like, where are my teammates? Where's this guy Kyrie I hear so much about? Where's Anthony Davis on a daily basis? Where's the rest of this group that's supposed to be out here with me making my entry into college pro basketball, the transition from college to pro basketball be seamless? Not sure what he's thinking about right now. Utah Jazz, 9-16. That's good. That's good. When Walker Kessler went out, I was really worried about their front line, but that's pretty good for them, 9-16. Pull together and string together a couple of more wins. I like their young talent. I'm not sure about Ace Bailey, though. Charlotte Hornets, 7-17. They're very young. They're trying to genuflect towards Durham and Chapel Hill to up their attendance. Not sure it's going to work, and I'm not sure they got the right guys for it. Brooklyn Nets, 6-17. This is what I don't know. Are you tanking or are you not tanking? I mean, to be talking on Twitter 23 games in, we got to tank. Why are we winning? Why? Every time they win, they go, why are we winning? We want to get draft picks. We want to get the first pick overall. I'm like, did you guys see what you did in the draft last year? Did you see how horrible your draft picks were last year? Now you want more? Man, oh man, oh man, that franchise has been bad for a long, long time. Indiana Pacers, 6-18. Just can't get over Halliburton being out. And don't diminish the fact that Miles Turner is in Milwaukee as well. Sacramento Kings, 6-18. Roster change, lineup change. Bring in the big guy, Max Renard. He's going to help you. But that team right now is awful. Awful. Down at the bottom, these are OOPs also, Pete. You know, the Brooklyn Nets, you start at Charlotte, that's OOP. You're out of the playoffs already.
Wow.
Yeah. You're just sitting there going, yeah, we got no shot. So we go to the Clippers. Man, is this the coldest team in the world right now? It's cold outside in Westfield, Mass. But, man, oh, man, I thought L.A. had a little bit of sunshine out there. Harden and the crew have fallen on hard in times. They're really, really struggling. 6-18. And of those 18 losses, they're like 16 of 18. They started off okay. And then they absolutely fell out of the sky. Washington Wizards, 3-19. You've been playing since October. 3 wins, 19 losses. OOP. Got to get better, man. Got to get better. They don't have anybody on that whole roster that I think is tradable. Like, you don't have a move to make either. All right. New Orleans Pelicans, 3-22. All right, Pete, who's hot, who's not? The Thunder are hot. They won 15, 16 in a row now. The Celtics have won 5 in a row, playing good basketball. The Knicks, 4 in a row. Nuggets, 3 in a row. Here's the not hot segment, Pete. The Bulls, L7. Pelicans, L7. Oof. The Heat lost 4, and the Raptors have lost 4. All right, we are going to jump into our NCAA baselines, get into it with a little bit of our Super 25 right now. But before I do that, Pete, I just want to take a quick segue in the show. I got some bad news this morning. All right. One of my former guys from St. Bonaventure, great New York City guard by the name of Alvin Lott, passed away in the last day or so. And it really saddened me because I was integral in hoping and helping Alvin come to St. Bonaventure. I loved him like a brother. And I was so saddened to hear that he had gotten sick and ultimately passed away. He was in a class of guards that people consider to be the greatest class of point guards in New York City history. That was with Pearl Washington, Mark Jackson, Kenny Smith, Alvin Lott, Kenny Hutch. It was just a super time. He played at Cardinal Hayes High School for a great, great gentleman by the name of Tom Murray, who was a Cardinal Hayes coach for years. Coach Jamal Mashburn, Vernon Giscombe, Alvin Lott, many, Jimmy Black, many great players along there. But I know that Alvin was always one of Coach Murray's favorites and always one of mine as well. Just really, saddened because he was such a great soul, and I deal with so many guys in my life, so many players in my life that come from rough circumstances, and it's hard, and they don't have a chance, some of them, and that's where my heart goes out to the most, those guys. This guy, had it hard, and he didn't have a great chance, but that never ever took that smile from his face. That never took that Al love beat from him, that vibration. And cancer wins a lot of battles here these days, but I know they didn't beat Alvin Lott because I know Alvin Lott, and he has the heart of a lion, and I know that he's with God right now, and I know he's being held, and I know because he's one of us, and he has the heart of a lion. Rest in peace, Alvin. All right, Pete, let's get into the Super 25. So glad that some of the others are starting to play along within the zone. AP finally comes around to picking Arizona. We went in and did the math stuff that they all do. We looked at UCLA. We looked at Florida. We looked at the other wins. Arizona beat UConn. I think UConn right now is playing some of the best basketball in the entire country. They had a very strong win at UConn. Everybody else is looking for neutral territory. Everybody else isn't going in head first to these places. And I credit Arizona. Tommy Lloyd and his group are doing great. And their recruiting was fabulous because Koa Pete, young freshman, he'd be top 5 on the draft board for sure. No question. All right, Pete, we're going to jump into it. Arizona, number 1. They're 8-0. All right. I want to see somebody knock them off. I know Jaden Bradley's playing great, Koa Pete's playing great, but they got a lot of pieces on that team. They have a lot. It's really, so many teams have depth right now because they've been able to hold on to some of their players, bring in some great young freshmen, but also then hit the portal. And if you do it correctly, you can really, really load this thing up. So then we got Duke in the 2 spot. They're really good, Pete. I got to give John Shire credit. 10-0. Really good. They're going to get into hyperspace right now in the ACC because I think Louisville has a chance. North Carolina has a chance. Maybe Virginia has a chance to beat them, but it's just a chance. They could run the table when they get to the ACC. Michigan 9-0. Everybody's got them number 1. I get it. Their margin of victory has been something very, very significant. I also know that they started off the season a little bumpy and a little slow. So I got them in the 3 spot, 9-0, but I'm standing by my guys up in the top there. Iowa State, the Cyclones, the hottest team in the country right now. Man, did they take Purdue and put them in the woodshed. Unbelievable what they did there. And I'm pretty sure that was at Purdue, Pete. Wow. 9-0. Cyclones are back, maybe one of the best backcourts in the country, and they got the international player Momcilovic, who is absolutely fantastic this year. All right, Connecticut, the first team with a loss that's pumped into our top 5, 9-1. I love this team. I really do. I like them. They're so deep. Maybe the deepest team in America when they get everybody back. They've had some injuries. Braylon Mullen was out for almost the entire beginning of the season. And now Taris Reed, who I think is such a good power big man inside. That's one of the pieces that's missing from this team. But Danny Hurley's doing a great job, and he's been able to keep them buoyant in that absence. I think the Arizona game without Reed and Mullins, that might have went the other way had they had them. So I got Connecticut 5. Michigan State got bumped off by Duke. No big surprise there. But they're a good team, but they have some weaknesses also that I saw got a little bit exposed in the Duke game. 8-1. Houston 8-1. They're all neutral. They're all home. Coach don't want to leave home and go without it, but I got to take them to task there. I
home-
love
home-
Houston. I love the way they play, but they're 8-1 and they've played nobody. The one game they played, they lost.
Home cooking cannolis.
Oh man, it's like a barbecue they got going on there. It's like a backyard barbecue, man. They've been there for months. Months. I used to love it when Larinaga and his guys in Miami wouldn't leave Boca for like months on end. I was like, that's so cool. It's like awesome, you know? But I don't know that that's helping you either, because you got to get out once in a while and take that heat.
Yep.
Got to get out and take the heat. Purdue 8-1. I moved them down. They got slaughtered. They got cycloned. Moved them down. I still think they're a good team, but I'm not as high on Braden Smith as everybody else is in the country. I get it. He's 5'10", 6 foot, does an amazing job. I love it, but I'm just not as high on him. I think that they've got some great pieces there. Clough, Ren Kaufman, they got some good pieces there. I just think that they got some defensive weaknesses on that team that can be exploited, and I think that's what happened in the Iowa State game. Their guards just took it at them. Vanderbilt, 9-0. We're buying Byington, Pete. We keep saying this, but he's 9-0. They got a big bag at Vanderbilt. He was the head coach at James Madison. Now you're interviewing. Vanderbilt calls up your agent, and they talk. And we say, okay, is Coach Byington interested? Well, he could be. What do you guys got? All right, here's what we got.
How many zeros at the end of the account?
We got zeros. and Vanderbilt stepped up, and they said, we'll have everything that everybody else has. And so Byington went in. He's a great coach. Did amazing things at James Madison, and now he's fully bagged up at Vanderbilt, and it hasn't taken long. Struggled a little bit last year getting off to it, but 1 year, now boom, second year, 9-0, and we've got him in the 9 spot, Pete. Gonzaga. Mark Few, congratulations on 750, Coach. That's amazing. He's 9-1. The loss to Michigan. I'm telling you, nobody in the country will get more money out of that loss than Coach Few. He will revamp, reinvigorate his team and get everybody fired up on all cylinders because of that loss. I guarantee it. Louisville 8-1. They played Kentucky, then they went away and hid, and then they also got scuffed up a little bit. BYU 8-1. I like this team. DeBonsa's number one, folks. All right, I'm going to tell it to you straight up right now. Everybody's talking about Boozer. Everybody's talking about Cole Pete. Everybody talking about Darren Peterson. DeBonsa's number one, and it ain't even close right now. I'm willing to change my mind. But on my draft board already, I've gotten his name written in. A.J. DeBonsa out of Brockton, Massachusetts, folks. He'll be the number one. All right, North Carolina 8-1. I'll give it to you right now, too. I got Caleb Wilson, number 2, on my draft board, probably right now. Caleb Wilson right behind DeBonsa. Both unbelievable athletes, competitors, great stock, and unbelievable tenacity in both of those players. DeBonsa really put on a show the other night. But North Carolina's pretty good. Keep an eye on this one, Pete. 7'3", 7'4", Henry Visar. Shoots from the outside. North Carolina picked him up. Huge addition to their front line. I'm going to stay with Arkansas, Pete. I feel kind of like for these guys because I don't think much of their guy as an X's and O technician. And I think it shows up from time to time, despite the fact that they're unbelievably talented. Mercurial, up and down in the thermometer, though, and they got to become more consistent. They got to embrace discipline, because you're up against the best of the best. And whoever embraces discipline the most, that's who wins. All right, USC, 9-1. The muscle man, doing it over in USC. That's a nice place to work. California, sunny California. Show up in short pants every day in practice, having fun. Nebraska, we got the mayor, Pete, 9-0 for Nebraska. Good win the other night, too. They're pretty solid. They got most of their stuff's been cupcakes, honestly. Most of the 9. But we moved them up. They're in a really good conference. We'll find out what they're made of. 17, Iowa. This coach just wins games, man. Guy just wins games. Unbelievable. Virginia, 9-1. Really turn this program around quickly right now. They've got it turned around very quickly, and I don't think they're there yet, but they will compete in the ACC in years to come. I think the people at Virginia will be happy with the direction they're moving. Alabama, 7-2. I think one of the best backcourts in the country, maybe Iowa State, Alabama. Different day, you catch me different, but they're really, really good. I've said it all along. I think they're too enamored with the three ball. More than 50% of their shots are coming out of three ball. I think that's too high. I like the three ball. I'm not opposed to it, but if you're going to go over 50% of your shots total with all of the athletes that they have, they got 6'10", 6'11", guys who can run, jump, shoot. Maybe you don't want them standing on the three-point line at 6'11". That's just a thought. Georgia, Mike White, 8-1. I love this young kid because I call him young now. He's not that young anymore, but I recruited him at Colgate. We had a Donald Foyle commit to us in November. That made me the most dangerous assistant coach in the country because I was telling everybody, we got the big guy. We got the best big man in the country right now. Come play with him. And it was a very effective message. Mike White wound up going to Mississippi and had a good career there, and he's a great young man. I'm glad to see his Georgia team doing well. Texas Tech, 7-2. Jacob Toppin. They really miss Darian Williams on this team. Really, really do. But you see some of that NIL stuff going on. They got Toppin in, and this is reported, but they got him in at $3.3 million. And Darian Williams had a monster year last year. Arguably their second best player. And he goes in to negotiate, and their number's not even near 3.3. He's wondering, why am I being treated like a second-class citizen here? What's his agent going to do? Pick up the phone. They're going to put him in a portal, and they're going to run it up the flagpole to see what their dollar amount is. Still maybe stay at Texas Tech, but if you get a number that's significantly north of that, see ya. So that's the way it is right now. And that's kind of, I think Jacob Toppin, not that he's going to take less than 3.3, but if they're real business model people out there, they say, man, we could give you 2.5 and we can keep Darian. How about that? Because we can win the national title. Good for everybody. Nobody's thinking like that right now, though. There is no group mentality anymore. It's all been broken out to the individual. So Illinois, 8-2, they went international. Let's see how it holds through this winter and through that big Big Ten season that's coming up. Because the Big Ten, kind of rough. All right, St. Mary's, 9-1. This team, well coached. Every year they're right there. They don't have the same resources that everybody else has, but I like putting them in because they're 9-1 and they're doing great stuff. Indiana, they took 1-2 right off the chin last week. We had them undefeated, way up at the top. They got some weaknesses on that team on the defensive side. They like to shoot the three ball like crazy too. Oklahoma State is 9-0, folks. They've been in the Willy Wonka chocolate factory making cupcakes, but they're still 9-0. All right? Pretty good job. All right. This is not in the zone. We give it to you straight up here, folks. All right? I don't know what half of these people are talking about when they do their stuff. All right? But if you told me this was totally by math and algorithm, I would sit there and say, I failed math almost every single time that they gave it to me. But that don't make no sense to me. Let's look at it, Pete. St. John's is 5-3. Where do you think they're ranked, Pete?
5-3? They're probably ranked 5.
14.
Okay.
At 5-3. Got to be kidding me. Got all these teams out here that have no losses, one loss. You're hanging them around at 5-3?
But look at the coach. He's the name.
I think that you hit on that, Pete. That's so big a part of it. So big a part of it. And they want St. John's to be good. They need the Big East to have a couple of good teams in there. Right now, the Big East ain't looking so good right now. Kansas, 7-3. Where do they got them? 15. I don't know what you guys are smoking, man. Florida, 5-4. Pete, you're going to lose your hat on this one. They're 5-4. 16.
They're riding on the coattails from last year and the year before.
It's just you hear the Jackson 5 playing in the background. Never can say goodbye. They don't want to say goodbye to them because they think it damages the product if they got to put St. Mary's in there. They think it damages the product when they put Vanderbilt up that high. They want the blue bloods. They need the blue bloods. They're in a parasitic relationship with the blue bloods. Tennessee, 7-3. You got to be kidding me. They lost at Syracuse. 18.
Syracuse, not a good team. Hasn't been for a while.
Haven't been. Good win. I'm so happy for Coach Autry.
Yeah.
I'm so glad, man. He's such a great guy, and I hope that they do well up there because that's a guy I root for because I coached against him when he was in high school. They beat us for the city championship. That's a guy I'm going to root for every single time. He's one of our New York City Bronx Bombers. Kentucky, 6-4, Pete. At 6-4, they put him at 26. I was like, why didn't you just put him at 25? Why didn't you just slide him in at 25? It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right. How much time I got, Pete?
You got about 5 minutes.
Got about 5 minutes. All right. So we were talking about Santa Claus before. We're going to go straight through some NBA teams right here for you and tell you what they're wishing for from Santa. Now, some of this was ESPN, and some of this is my own, but we're going to go through it. The Thunder. ESPN said they're looking for three-point shooting. I'm surprised that they would think that they're looking for anything. 24-1. They're looking for the Portland Trailblazers to punch them in the nose next time they see them because that's the only loss they got. What I'm looking for from them is I think they're a little bit more fragilely balanced than people think. If anything happens to SGA on an injury level, they're not as good a team as everybody thinks they are. All right, I'll keep an eye on that one. Denver Nuggets, they want them to stay healthy. They need depth. They won the title years ago, Coach Mike Malone, because they had the best depth in the NBA. Absolutely, without question, the best depth. They ain't got it no more. Pistons, they need three-point shooting. They're good at getting to the rim. They got some guys, but they really, really got to improve their shooting. The Rockets, they're going to be asking Santa Claus for less turnovers. We turn it over less. They're a young team. Blow it up and down the floor, but they do have a tendency to be careless with the basketball, and that's no bueno. The Lakers, defense. Open for some defense in that stocking. Maybe you'll find LeBron James in a defensive stance. Maybe you'll find Luka bending down to pick up some gifts by the tree. But I don't think you're going to see them in a defensive stance anytime soon. Celtics, they need to have a little bit more. They need to get at the foul line a little bit more. They're shooting all those three balls. You don't get to the foul line much. They need to get to the foul line a little bit more. Spurs, their three-point defense has to improve, and most teams are out there shooting it from the three-point line now because they got Wembanyama patrolling the paint. Timberwolves, their defense without Rudy Gobert is awful. And I said this all along. They need help on that front line. When they traded Karl Anthony Towns to the Knicks, they left themselves at a deficit in the front line. Still, to this day, haven't handled that, and I think they could do that at the trade deadline. Magic, remaining whole is what ESPN wanted them to go. I said, if you don't have nothing to say, leave it blank. Okay? Remaining whole, what does that mean? You know what they need? They need to be consistent. They lose too many in a row, then they win too many, or they got to go back. They got to develop consistency, although they're 15-10. The Heat, they need more offensive consistency, all right? They really struggled without Harrow a little bit early on, played pretty good basketball, but he really spreads that floor for them, does good things. The Raptors, their free throw differential's bad news. Means they foul way too much and they don't get fouled enough. So you're giving up a lot of stuff and you're not getting it back. No good. Cavaliers slumping on offense. They were a really high-powered offense last year when they came out and took out the Eastern Conference, went to the top of it with a really, really fired-up, high-powered offense. They're missing Garland. They're missing Darius Garland. I really, really think that had hurt them. The Suns' ball distribution. Problem there is, who are you going to give it to? Ball distribution. You got Booker, and that's it. So you don't know about that. All right? The Warriors' offensive efficiency, I would trade Butler right away. The 76ers' interior size and defense, yeah, because you got Embiid signed to a gazillion-dollar contract, and he never plays. The Hawks, paint presence. You ain't going to get that out of Porzingis, folks. Grizzlies, rotational adjustments. Trade Morant. Just get him out. Mavericks, they need shot creators. They actually need guys to show up and play, actually get in the lineup, actually be there. All right, Trailblazers, three-point shooting. The Bucks, non-Giannis minutes are bad. If they trade Giannis, you're going to get a lot for him. They're going to take his brother out, too. They got his brother in there on a nepotism deal. They can get him, too. The Bulls need offense. Man, do they need offense. The Jazz need defense. Hornets forcing turnovers. They got to be a little bit better defensively. Clippers transition defense. The Kings' offensive rating is terrible. Here's way down here. These guys are out of the playoffs already. Pacers, three-point shooting. The Nets need a second scoring option and a third and a fourth. Wizards, possession battles. The Pelicans, interior defense. Trade Zion Williamson if anybody will take him. Folks.
Hey, quick shout-out before we go.
Do it.
John Cena retires this weekend from the in-ring WWE competition. And most of you'll know him, but the funny story, when I went to see him in Springfield his last time, he was a lineman, All-American at Springfield College.
Wow.
Offensive center. And this is the quote from his promo. Some young fans may not know this, but I spent a lot of years playing football up the street at Springfield College. Okay, truth to be told, I see a lot of old fans confused. The reason you might not know that is because I was an offensive lineman. Quick job description. You never get your name in the paper. You show up and get your ass kicked, and then you come back the next day and pleasantly ask them to kick your ass again. Springfield College prepared me for my life in the WWE. It's a great quote.
That is unbelievable.
I listened to it live at Springfield Civic Center. And I was sitting there going, "Yep, I was a defensive tackle." So
you got the people at Springfield College right now hustling to get that on the back of their admissions profile stuff right now. That's going to sell a lot of tickets right there. They got a guy like that who has a notoriety like that. Just lay out what his career was like at a place in D3. Unbelievable. John Cena, thank you. All right, Pete, we're out. We got all of our fans, everybody. You're moving into Christmas. Let's get it. Let's get everybody fired up about the holiday seasons here. We love you. And again, Alvin Lott, please rest in peace. You're in the zone, folks.